Good morning. Welcome back to the Pratte Gym. The airwaves, the final frontier. Today is a significant day because on this date, November 2nd, 1920, the first presidential election results were broadcasted on the airwaves. And those airwaves owned by Westinghouse Electric and KDKA Radio, where I have been a team player, believe it or not, since the spring of 1984. And I have worked with some of the great members of the wonderful business that we call broadcasting who have ever turned a microphone on in this region for decades. If I would mention their names, it would take pretty much the rest of the morning into the afternoon and into the night and beyond, because many of them have blazed a trail of greatness when it comes to covering everything. And it just wasn't that one night in history that has made KDK historic on its 96th birthday. And thanks to Harry Davis, who was a very smart-thinking vice president at Westinghouse Electric, the airwaves did come to life on News Radio 1020 KDK on that election night. But many more things were to follow, like Herbert Hoover giving a European relief speech at the Duquesne Club in 1921. A number of amazing things happened that year, like a heavyweight championship fight featuring the most popular athlete in the world, Jack Dempsey from New Jersey, and the great Harold Arlen on the play-by-play of the Pirates-Phillies in that same year in August of 21 from Forbes Field. And yes, who can forget humorous Will Rogers on the radio for the first time in 1922. No matter the decade, no matter that moment in history etched in time, News Radio 1020 KDK has been a part of it, and they will continue to do so for many generations to come. I, of course, will never forget my first day on the air, and after I went out and sat in one Gateway Center on the edge of a fountain. And as the water splashed around me, all sorts of things splashed through my brain. But most importantly, how blessed and privileged I was to have an opportunity to be a part of that radio station. Never in my wildest dreams did I think 3.5 decades later, I'd still be there. Well, I am, and I'm proud of it. But I must tell you, no matter how many times I go on the air, I think of KDKA this way. Holiday stories, of course, Jack Bogan in the window at Kimball's and Kaufman's and Horns. I think of all of the wonderful Halloween stories with Ed and Wendy King in the late 60s that I used to listen to late at night. That was really the impetus for me wanting to become a broadcaster. And that love affair with the airwaves never waned until I got that opportunity many years later to go on the air at News Radio 1020 KDKA. But I also think about it always being that voice in the background, that extra family member that you just heard quietly throughout the day, and when you needed to, you plugged in to hear what was breaking news and, of course, what your beloved Pirates were doing. And that probably is the biggest chunk of my life when it comes to KDKA. I, as a kid on a hot summer night, could hear Bob Prince's voice just billowing throughout the neighborhood. And the amazing thing about the popularity of that radio station, which still exists today, it was always fashionable because no one ever had air conditioning. They sat out on their patio in their lawn chairs with their Iron City in hand, and everyone had the speaker reversed so it was facing the screen in the window and the sound would come out into the backyard. And I've often told this story from the gunner saying, "Here's the pitch," to start the first inning, as I would go from yard to yard throughout the night, greet friends and family, and just spend a little time at each location. I never missed a single pitch, because that was the love affair that this region had with KDKA, and it still exists today. And I know if my colleagues were here in the Pratte Gym, they would want to say the same thing. We are grateful for everything that you have done for us, and it is our obligation to continue to inform and entertain you, our audience, which I must admit, every day is probably one of the best parts of my day. So happy birthday and many more to the legendary News Radio 1020 KDKA. Have a great day from the Pratte Gym.